Okay, so in this episode, we're going to be going over how to set up a piece to be laser cut. Now, laser cutting is a very useful tool, especially in prototyping, because it can churn out pieces very quickly. That being said, we don't really want to use it on the final robot because the MDF that we use for the laser cutting is fairly fragile. So let's go ahead and start looking at how to do that. What I have here is the intake mechanism for last year's robot Frost. What we're going to say is we're going to go and say, hey, we're prototyping this. I want to laser cut this intake piece to see if the dimensions work. So here's how we're going to go ahead and do that. You're going to want to go down here, bottom left, and click Insert New Tab, and go to Create Drawing. Now, if you're on the OnShape team, you should see this RoboTalons template. This is what you're usually going to want to use for drawings, but for this, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to click OK. And then you're going to select you're going to deselect the insert view because you don't want to worry about that yet. The very first thing we want to do is to select everything in the drawing and click delete. Sometimes the numbers at the top are a little weird and you'll have to delete those manually, which is a little annoying, but just keep that in mind. So now the next step you're going to want to do is go ahead and insert your view. You're going to click insert. You're going to go to the part you want. In this case, it's under intake parts, intake finger. Now, the view orientation, whatever you want it to be, just keep in mind that whatever it looks like is exactly what the printer is going to print. So it's going to print along the lines exactly. So if you're on the side view, it's going to print just a rectangle if that's what the side view looks like. And then you're also going to want to make sure that this view scale is 1:1. If the view scale is not 1:1, this will not work. So once you click that one, you can escape out of the tab. You'll notice that if you have circles, it automatically populates center marks in them. It's useful when you're dimensioning, not very useful when you're laser cutting. So what you're going to want to do is right click on the drawing. You're going to go to Show/Hide, and then go down to Hide Auto Center Marks. And click that, and you'll notice all of your center marks are gone. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and modify the sheet. So if you go to the left over here, click the Sheets icon, and then right click on your sheet 1. Go to Properties, make sure your scale is 1:1. But here, size is really what we're worried about. Notice A is the default, but we're going to want to change that to custom. Now, most of our MDF sheets, brand new, are 20 by 11. Now, for most prints, you're going to want to use leftovers that are in the shop by the laser cutter. This is important so we can preserve material and be using the resource that we have efficiently. So that's also why you need to be positioning these in the corners, because that gives the most flexibility when you finish the piece and you put it in the scrap pile, that it can be used in the future for other prints or other laser cuts, I suppose. So once you have your dimensions set, in the laser box challenge, it'll be 5 by 12. So what you're going to want to do, but here we're going to keep it as 20 by 11. I'm going to click the green check mark, and I'm just going to move this up to top left here. Now, where this is in the drawing doesn't really matter because you can move it around once you get to the laser cutter anyways. I just like to put it in the corner because it kind of serves as a reminder that we need to be keeping in mind how to place these efficiently and use our space efficiently. And that's important. We always want to be efficient with it. It goes back to the 5 S's that we talked about at the beginning of the year. It's part of that process. So now that you have your drawing, you have our intake finger, and we'll say this is the only one we want to print. We don't want to print multiple of them. If you did, you could, right click and go ahead and copy, right click again and paste. And then it'll create a copy. And you can print, say, a second one. and we'll keep them close together, but you don't want the lines to overlap because that just won't work. So now, once you have your drawing done, go ahead and come down here, right click, rename this drawing to Intake Fingers Laser Cut, and then you're going to right click and then go to Export. And then you go on Export it as a PDF. Dimensions are not here, so it does not matter. Same with text. You want your color to be black and white, and you want your option to be download. Once you do this, you can click Export, and you'll see Intake Fingers Laser Cut is being prepared for export. You're going to want to wait until you see at the bottom that it's done downloading. And now you have your PDF. You can export that onto a USB drive and bring that over to the laser cutter to get it printed. And that's how you're going to set up every single laser cut you ever do. It's that same process over and over and over again. The biggest things to keep in mind are your MDF sheets are going to be 1/8 of an inch thick. You don't have anything other than that. So keep that in mind when you're designing and when you're getting ready to prototype, as well as being mindful of the space that you use up. So here you'll notice that this is a decently small amount of space that this is taking up. So I try and find a piece in the scrap pile that has just the very left side open, so I could use that sheet instead of taking up a whole brand new piece. Because MDF can get expensive, especially in the amounts that we use it in, so we want to be efficient with our resources. For now, I think that's it. One more thing, do not use the laser cutter without a mentor or a captain guiding you until you finish this level and get approved. That goes for every tool in the shop. Do not use it without guidance until you get approved by a mentor or by a captain. And that's a safety thing. We want to make sure that everyone knows how to use the tools in the shop and can be safe. But that is how you laser cut, and covers everything for this lesson.